Hello, everyone. How are you? My name is Michael Gibson. I'm sorry for us going a little late today. Technical difficulties. Sometimes when you're traveling, you have to go with the speed of the internet where you are. So I'm having to do this over my phone, which is okay with me. We set it up and got it done. I'm sorry we're a little late. Today I have on with me Stephanie Thompkins. Now, Stephanie has a great story to tell. As a matter of fact, I enjoy speaking with Stephanie for quite some time. We used to speak every single day. And it was crazy good over at Arrow, Abuse Refuge Org, where she's been volunteering for quite some time. So I'll ask Stephanie to step in and tell us a little about herself. Please, Stephanie, forgive me the slurry. I'm trying to catch up.
Hi, yeah, thank you, Michael. Hi, everyone. My name is Stephanie Thompkins. I've been with Arrow for over a year now. I'm doing graphic design. I'm really enjoying it. I'm also a norm therapist as well, which I can't say enough about the norm therapy program. It's absolutely incredible. It's life-changing, and I can't wait for the world to know about it. Um, yeah, and
Yay.
yeah, a little bit about me. I have two girls. They're 11 and 15. They're probably the reason.
You don't look like you got an 11-year-old and 15-year-old. By the way, you
Well,
look great, by the way, today. Wonderful.
thank you. Yeah, I would say that they're most likely the reason I'm still here today to give me purpose and drive and passion. And they're always watching me, so I have to set a good example. Um, yeah, I'm a mindset coach. I'm also trained and certified in quantum healing hypnosis technique. So I've done many hypnotherapy sessions, which are also extremely beneficial. And I'm also an entrepreneur. I own a construction business as well as I co-own a co-work center in Colorado.
Good Lord, you stay busy. You're busier than I am. Well, that's a good thing. Plus, you volunteer with Abuse Refuge Org, and you're a norm therapist. Interesting. Interesting turn of events here. So tell me, in your life, what's been happening the past few months, Stephanie? You've been on my mind, and I tell you, I'm always interested in what you're doing next. What has been going on?
Yeah, well, so I'm growing my construction business. A couple of really close friends of mine, two close friends of mine, Moral Sarper and Brad Swanson. We've just opened a co-work center in Southern Colorado. It was the only co-work center in our area, so we decided to open it up, and it's actually been a really wild adventure because there was a kind of like a small Shark Tank competition with venture capitalists, and we just
Hmm.
came up with this pitch to pitch this idea for the co-work center. And when we did, a couple of business owners on the panel said, "We love your idea, but we want you to do it in our building. We have a really cool building." And it's actually, I'm sitting in here now, it's the oldest building in Pueblo, Colorado, where we reside.
Really?
So
Really? So tell me, so historic about the building?
well, it used to be the an old Quaker mill. So I don't have so much information on it, but I just know
Hmm.
it's really old. It has a really old theater. It even has, I wish I could get up and show you, but
It's
just,
okay. It's okay.
yeah, just behind this wall right here, there's an old pulley system elevator that actually still works.
Really?
It still works and it's certified for us to use it. So it's pretty interesting. Yeah.
You know what? Those things last forever when they were built correct back in the early 1900s, 1900s and 20th century, the
Yeah.
late 1900s and 20th century when they started building these elevators. I tell you, that was and that was the only mode of going up and down a building. So now you get into this building and use a co-work. What is a co-work center?
Well, a co-work center is a space where people can come and maybe instead of working in a coffee shop all day, where sometimes people feel obligated to keep buying snacks or drinks, they can come with their laptops and work on their projects in a quiet space. There's several different spaces where people can work. You can work as a group in a couple conference rooms. We also have a recording and podcast studio, which I'm in right now because it's really quiet. Um,
Hmm.
we also have like a kids zone and we have a Zen zone with yoga mats and there's bean bags throughout. We also have a vitality bar. We don't serve any alcoholic drinks. We have different like mushroom tinctures and kava and smoothies, protein shakes, different type of healthy drinks. So yeah, what makes this co-work center a little bit different is me and my cohorts are very passionate about entrepreneurship and inspiring others and helping others heal. So we make sure that we provide different classes, coaching classes, meditation classes, visualization, yoga, and different things that are healthy for the mind, body, and soul.
Yeah, well, if you keep all of those in mind, you'll do well. But let me ask you one more question about that center. Do you have any place for your pets?
Yeah, well-behaved animals can join. We do have a couple dog beds and dog bowls. So, yeah.
So it's a full immersion in self while you're there and taking care of all the things, your kids, your animals, and everything else. I like that.
Yeah.
That's a very productive environment. What do you like best about your life now? What is best about your life?
What is best about my life is right now my main focus is transitioning out of the lowest level of owning a business, which is implementation, and actually spending more time with my children. I feel like they've always needed me, but I feel like at this age, when they're teenagers, they need me more than ever, and I'm really grateful that they want to hang out with me and spend time with me. So that's the most important thing and the best thing.
Engagement,
Mhm.
family engagement is everything. It really is.
Yeah.
Which brings up a topic, and they just want to share it now. Last night, you get one of those middle of the night calls, and it just was a bad thing. My brother's daughter died last night, my niece. She was killed in a car accident. So that family time, that face to face that you have is very important. Every day you have to bring your A game for your kids. And she
Yeah.
was actually struck by a car in Arizona last night.
Deeply,
And oh
Michael.
my God, thank you, thank you. It's been, I mean, I stayed on the phone with my brother a couple of hours just talking through what was important in life. What was important? Everybody in the world resonates when somebody lives, hopefully, uh, and they should, but they always don't. Most of the time, they don't. Most of the time, people only resonate when you die. And
Mm,
that's, the things I like about what you're interested in is you're interested in freedom, co-parenting, self-expression, these kinds of areas that I want to talk about tonight, and some of the other issues that you're passionate about. Because I've been watching you online. You got a lot of good things going on. I like the way you talk. You're always calm and relaxed when you're speaking to people. Um, and I wanted you to appreciate, because you have two daughters, and they're probably your best buds in the world.
yeah.
And if they are, then I think parental engagement is everything. How about co-parenting? How is that going for you?
Uh, it's going okay. We're figuring it out. It's been about 8 years since their dad and I separated, so we're getting
Mm,
better at it, and we're finding that communication is so important. I feel like it's the key to every single relationship. So
it
we're getting.
truly is.
And then what another aspect of co-parenting is having a community. I feel like having close friends that are also, because a lot of my family is not here. Some of my closest family moved away, and so I feel like it's really important to have some close, trusting friends that can also talk to your children and communicate with your children when they need another ear.
It takes a village, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It does. It takes a village to raise children. I think that that's what we're forgetting in our society these days, that oftentimes we look at us being the center of their universe, and when we're not. Most children are, they're actually influenced more by their environment than their parents. And it's been proven that that's the case. So it does take a village. Um, Tell me, when we were talking some time ago, entrepreneurship has always been important to you. I mean, you have probably 15 things on your resume right now that you're doing. How do you do it? I'm happy for you that you are, but how do you make entrepreneurship a central theme in your life?
Uh, Well, I would have to say most of it probably comes from my past experiences of being employed, and one of the reasons I love norm therapy so much is because it's helped me realize all different types of abuse, and I've realized that I've been through so much job abuse and bosses, and I never felt like it was right. I never felt like I was lower than anybody, and I always felt like I deserved respect. So and I would like to create a few businesses where I can treat employees with respect and remember that they have families as well and they're not just worker bees. And also freedom is also very important to me too. Probably also comes from my past and trauma and abuse as well, but it's okay because it's driving me to success.
Well, that's good. I mean, you seem to be well together these days based on when we first met. I mean, you were like kind of frazzled a little, and
Mm.
now you are very composed and on point, and you have a very articulate message and power. You've allowed your power to exude you, and I think that's a good thing that people capture that right away. Also, when I'm thinking about you, Austin, I'm always thinking about that construction business of yours. Whenever we were talking and you had to go to a meeting, it was always to construct. What are you building? What are you doing over there in the construction?
Uh, Painting and drywall.
And that's like, look, now I had a conversation with someone the other day about drywall. Drywall is exactly as dry, and it just sucks the moisture out of the atmosphere in the room. It keeps rooms really, really dry. I guess that's what they call it, drywall. But is that on purpose?
Um, yeah, for the most part. I mean, most of it's fireproof and all that. Yeah, we don't want any moisture getting captured in the walls, obviously, because of mold and such things. But
Yeah.
uh,
So it
yeah,
keeps it dry in there. Okay, I just want to make sure that it wasn't something to just keep everybody scratching their skin, going, "I'm dry in here. I need some lotion. I need some oil." But yeah, I've
well,
always known.
well,
What about enamel paint? Go ahead.
Colorado is just it's desert weather. It's so dry here anyway, so we're used to it.
I do remember that when I was out in Colorado, especially in the mountains. It is dry.
So dry,
It is
yeah.
really dry there. Wow, it is. Okay, so but enamel paint, enamel versus latex. Which do you prefer?
Uh, Latex acrylic paint. I mean, it's what's mostly available. I would actually, I'm, I don't know if I'll ever do it, but I'm thinking about creating a more sustainable paint for the environment. I know there are some out there. It would be nice if I could potentially open a store here in Southern Colorado where I'm providing that to the community because I feel like most of the commercial paint that we're using in residential is pretty toxic. I feel so. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't love
health-wise, yeah, it's got to be bad for you.
I don't love it, and I don't. I enjoy painting, but yeah, a more sustainable alternative would be preferred. Maybe I'll make
So,
that.
and well, I think that's something you should be after. I think enamel is oil-based and latex is water-based, if I remember correctly. But now you say they have acrylic and other ingredients that can't be healthy on any level.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay, now, how cold or hot is it in Colorado right now? I know Colorado gets very hot,
Yeah,
but
I believe it got up to 105 yesterday. It's pretty warm right now. I don't know, maybe it's in the 80s or 90s right as we speak, but it's been pretty hot and dry.
wait a minute. 105 in Colorado. Now, that's in the valley areas, right? In between the
Yeah,
mountainous areas.
right. Under the mountains. Anywhere in the mountains is going to be definitely cooler, but still pretty warm. But yeah,
With altitude. Yeah, 105 is pretty darn hot. It's like the weather in Arizona, that dry, hot weather.
exactly.
It,
Yeah, yeah,
it's what they call that part of the country. It's like I used to know this stuff, and now I'm thinking about Arizona, Colorado, and all the places out west, Nevada. They have this very desert feel to it. But in Las Vegas is, yeah, you're right, Corona. Las Vegas is one of those hot places that's just ridiculous. The weather there is crazy. Okay, so I want to go to some of your healing that you deal with now. For sake of future and posterity, as far as this show is concerned, I want to talk about it and have it on record. Um, how do you empower people?
Well, I empower people by holding a safe and neutral space for people to communicate how they're feeling. And I encourage people to not be so hard on themselves, not be so caught up or serious about what's going on in their lives. I feel like nothing is just, sometimes I feel like it's a game and nothing's too important. There's no reason to really super stress about everything. Plus, I remember you and I speaking when we used to speak like this over video, me talking about
Hmm.
the moment, and that really everything here in the now moment is really okay. Even if we were to get in a car accident or have something horrible happen in the moment, we act in the moment and we community comes together and we, for the most part, get assistance and we're just taking care of it. Um, so yeah, I
Right.
feel like I want to remind others that stress can often be caused by past events and also future worries. And if we can hone ourselves back here in the now moment and remember that everything is okay right here and now, we can take a breath and maybe let go and ease some of that stress.
I like to tell people that stress is always because of something you can't do anything about.
Mm.
It's never about something you're doing. So when people are actually doing something and they're under a lot of pressure and frustration to get it done, they sometimes remove themselves and not really understand that it's the actual doing of something that will relieve the stress. And the frustrations that causes the stress remains because you're worrying about things you can't do anything about. So it's
Exactly.
a big, yeah, it's a big difference. And people always put themselves in circumstances that best fit themselves, but most of the time they're self-evaluating. We know about when you self-evaluate, you're normally wrong about that. When you're talking to people in the community, especially in your healing processes, especially with hypnosis, what are you trying to teach them to do with themselves?
Well, what I try to teach mostly is awareness. Mindset and belief systems is something I'm extremely passionate about. I wouldn't be an entrepreneur right now and doing all these fun things that I'm passionate about if I hadn't just been aware of my own thoughts and figured out that most of those thoughts were lies or they were programs from society and from
Mhm.
my upbringing. And so I try to bring people back around to their awareness. And when they tell me something about themselves, we'll take a pause and, hold your heart and then ask them again, is that really true? Is that really true?
You're calling them out on their lives, on their
Hmm.
BS. That's the way to go. And what do they tell you normally? How do you break that down?
Always no. It's always no, it's not true. I'm like, well, then that might be a mental program, a belief that's not true that is actually holding you back physically. And so be aware of when it comes up and remind yourself when that thought arises, wait a minute, I've already decided that's not true. I'm moving past this. And it might come up again and say it again. And it might come up again and say it again until finally you get it.
Okay, I have to ask you, and it's time. What is the most important thing in your life to you right now, and how are you protecting it?
My time. The most important thing is my time. And I'm just I'm learning how to get my time back and give my time back to my children.
Well, tell us, how does that happen? What do you do? Give us the operation of that, because a lot of people hear you say that and they see you well put together, but they're saying to themselves, I'm not doing it for myself, and I need to know how. How
Yeah,
are they? How can they get that done?
well, it's not always easy, but I would say the first thing is to come up with a plan, even if it's just a plan in your mind. And what is the one thing, even if it's so small, what is the one thing that's standing you in your way of starting your plan, of getting to your end goal? And I feel like there's a lot of stuff in the way in between our where we are and our end goal. And I feel like we can just kind of like sort through it all or swim through it, keep swimming. Um,
Oh yeah, don't drown, but keep swimming.
Yeah, so having a plan, and then the most important thing is deciding. I will get my time back. I will do this, and nothing's going to stop me. I feel like making a decision and having the intention to succeed that's everything. That's the driving force. That's what's going to get somebody there. So for example, right now, like I said before, I've been on the lowest part of my business, which is implementation. But I'm slowly growing, and I just hired a crew, and I did the job with them and taught them all the ropes. Within a couple hours, they got it, and they're really excited to work with me, and they want to keep doing more. So that's something I'm going to be able to move forward in is send people out. And yeah, there was some things that were standing in my own way, my own perfection, and my reputation is on the line. Is the job going to be done the way I like it? I had to sort through all of that because that's trust. It's a trust thing that I had. So there's a lot of that stuff in the way of getting to the end goal. But as long as we decide that we're going to get there, we can sort through everything, hopefully with ease and grace.
Do you have failure in your mind sometimes?
I wouldn't say I have failure in my mind. I would say failure does happen in my life and around me, but I'd like to not call it failure because that has such a weird negative context. It's actually what I feel like it is it's an experience and it's a learning lesson. I really don't believe failing is really failing unless you give up and you don't work towards it anymore.
Now that's true failure. So I wanted to know, see, because a lot of people have a positive mindset when it comes to moving forward, and then some people have a negative baseline where they judge all things that they're doing based on some negative outcome. And I think that when you're an entrepreneur, I think people forget that the biggest part about being an entrepreneur is the failure, is what did you learn from the what will be perceived to others as failure and what perceived to you as a lesson learned. That's, I think, the difference between the mindset and how people survive entrepreneurship, because it is not easy by any. I've only ever had two jobs in my life, working for myself and the US government. That's it. I've never worked for anyone else. So I don't know what it means to have a job. I don't know what it means to go to a job interview and say, "Hi, how are you?" Yeah, let me kiss your rear, and that toxic boss that people find. Oh my God. I
Yeah.
mean, if that doesn't push you into entrepreneurship all by itself, something's wrong. So is that what pushed you into entrepreneurship, not wanting to take it from him or her or whomever?
Uh, in a way, that was it. But also, I just don't feel like I feel like my time is too valuable to be spending it on someone else's dream when I'm a visionary and I have so many dreams of my own. It's not going to happen by me being distracted in some other mundane job that doesn't matter to me.
Well, see, that's the core of entrepreneurialism. I love that because why would you effectuate someone else's dream when you have your own? That is what most people can't balance in their life. They can't put it together to make people understand, at least in their immediate surrounding, that you want to branch out. And the first thing they want you to do is get a job. The first thing people around you want you to do is get a job. How did you overcome that? Because I'm sure we all have it.
Um, yeah, first of all, it was college. People around me wanted me to go to college. I went for a little while. It definitely was not for me. And then, I tried out the jobs and I learned a lot. I learned a lot from having various jobs and developing communication and social skills and all of that. But even when I started this construction business, it was like a fire was lit under me. I had to do it. It wasn't necessarily like a nonchalant choice, like, oh, I'm going to do this. I went through a traumatic time, a hard time, and I had to pick up the pieces. I was actually looking for a job and I was scrolling online, and that's actually how I found Arrow when I was looking for a job and ended up just being a volunteer instead. But I was looking for a job, and you know, the hours, and I feel like nothing paid enough for me to sustain my household on my own. And then also, I wouldn't be able to pick up my daughters from school. It just like it just wasn't an option. Like, this is not effective for me. It's not going to work. I have to do something for myself and for my girls on my own.
How do you feel about you right now? If you had to assess you as if you were a third party, how would you assess yourself?
Um, well, the only thing I can think of right now, and this has been on my mind, heavy on my mind for the last couple days, is I don't give myself enough credit, and I'm not sure why. But I feel like I'm doing the best I can, and I feel like I'm just flowing through this journey and just kind of being pulled left and right by my life, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the journey. So.
So you're not giving yourself enough credit, and it's only because you're not where you want to be yet, or because you think you're there and it's not enough. Which could it be?
Oh, it's definitely not. Think I'm there and it's not enough.
Good.
It's I would say it might not be either. Hmm.
Well, okay, well, let's see to hear the third one. I'd love to hear your third one. You got
Uh,
me sitting up in my seat.
Michael, I don't know what it is, but I do talk to people around me, and people pat me on the back and tell me I'm doing great and congratulate me and all these things, and I'm just like, oh, really? Like,
Oh, okay, enters the self-deprecation.
it doesn't seem like a big deal. It doesn't seem like a big deal. It's just kind of what I have to do. It's the path I'm on.
That's a form of humility. You know that, right?
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
not negative thought. I think sometimes when we are enough for everyone else, we are, especially if we're hungry for life, we're never satisfied with where we are. If
Mm.
you ever become complacent and satisfied wherever you are, that means you're done, you're toast, turn you over, and it's time to take you off the grill. I think that it's a good thing that you have that incessant hunger, that you're always looking to improve, it seems to me. But
Yeah.
also, in addition to that, you recognize it. This is where most people fail. They don't
Mm.
recognize that they're not enough in a good way. It's always good not to be enough. And I hear these people go on television and all these shows all the time talk about, well, I feel so bad about myself. I never felt so good. And I sit and I say to myself, that's good if you can build on it. If you can build from there, let's say you are enough for you, for yourself, for your children, for your work environment, for everything. Let's say
Mm.
you are enough, but you still think you're not, but you're doing something about it. There's an active measure that you're taking to do something about it. That's much better than say, I got this. I hate it when I hear people say, I got this. I hate that because none of us ever got it. We never got it.
Mm.
We hope we got it. So it's always good to go in with a little bit of humility, and not the kind of humility, that humble thing that people say, oh, just keep your head down and be quiet and just be thankful and grateful. That's good when you're in church or something. But in reality, in real life, that kind of humility make people think that you're weak. The kind
Mm.
of humility I'm talking about is that, you know, when you get your first big contract, you keep it to yourself. You just hold on to it
Mm.
and know
Mhm.
that you've gotten that big contract. You've
Yeah.
taken it out of that intentional mode. And now you're in the let's get it done mode. People don't need to know that. Because you're a prophet. Think about it. Every entrepreneur in the world is a prophet. They're prophesizing what it is that they're doing to the world to help the world. So, with that being said, think about it. Just think about it for 10 seconds. If, with that being said, you're prophesizing, I didn't even think the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, every religious text, everything in the world says that a prophet is never respected in their own home. No, because they know you as, little Steffi. That's Steffi from when she was a little girl. She was a teenager. She was in college. She didn't finish this. She didn't do that. That's what they think of you. So they won't respect you. So you have to get outside of yourself and
Wow.
not care about what they think and move forward. That's it. Get outside of you. So I think it's good when sometimes you don't think you're enough. I think
Mm.
it's good, but it's when you do something about it that it makes it good. Not when you just sit there, oh, I'm gonna whine for a while because I'm not okay. I'm not okay. I think I'll whine and feel sorry for myself and all of that. So I think we're on the same sheet of music, and I'm very proud that these some of the accomplishments and some of the things that you believe in. What else is important to you that you want the audience to know? Now, sometimes we get 4, 5 people in this thing. Sometimes we get 500 or 300. We just never know. But people do go back and watch, and we get a lot of views. So if you had anything important to say to someone that's passionate to your existence and to your children's development in the future and your business endeavors in life, what do you have to say to our audience? What makes you whole?
Well, what I have to say is if we could all take a few moments with our eyes closed, breathing deeply, coming back to childhood, coming back to the time where we felt free. Hopefully, a lot of people, or hopefully, everybody had a time in childhood where they experienced enjoyment of life. And remember what lit you up, what made you passionate, what did you enjoy doing, what anything, even if it's, anything creative, what were you passionate about? And I feel like deep down inside, everybody in their own special way, each individual has a gift that they're able to share with the world and be of service. And I feel like if we can tune back into what that is, um, I really feel like everybody can be an entrepreneur, and I feel like everybody has something special to share. So that's what I want to say. Find out what lights you up, what really makes you passionate, and go after it. And you may have some beliefs standing in your way, and it might be challenging, but I promise you, you can get there if you just set the intention and decide that you're going to do it.
Which brings me to another question. Now that you're entrepreneurializing everything about your life and you have more access, I think money is just a metaphor for access. You got money, you got access. You got business endeavors, you have more access. Tell me, do you travel?
Uh, no, I would love to, but I don't travel. Yeah, yeah.
What do you think will make you travel? What do you think will give you the opportunity other than making money? What would be out there in the world for you to look for?
Um, I just submitted my first art piece to an art exhibit, a local art exhibit, and I really enjoyed it. And I just kind of had the vision of maybe submitting art pieces all over the country, all over the world, and wherever I go, I want to be able to take my girls with me so that they can experience it as well. But yeah, that might be something.
Stephanie, I think that's a very laudatory endeavor. I really do. That's amazing. See, art is your expression of you, I'm sure. And one of your existences, that's what you're exuding to the world. What kind of art are you most interested in?
I guess it's called multimedia art. It's just physical objects basically being put together. Yeah, the piece I came up with is called "Love Is Eternal." I just I feel like
And you submitted it.
yeah, and I
You're
submitted
you're gonna
it.
have to show us. You're gonna have to show us.
Okay.
I wish I knew. I'm on a. I had to switch to my other platform. I'm not sure if I can get it on there, but definitely, can you post it on our or send me an email and I'll post it on our channels.
Okay.
And if, I love to see it and I promote it, of course. But love is eternal. Why did you pick that theme? Love is eternal.
Uh, I picked it because I feel like we have so many experiences with different people. I feel like for some reason, especially for me in this life, like relationships are so important. Family, friends, romantic relationships. I feel like we learn something from everybody, and I feel like there somewhere in a relationship is love, whether it's family, friends, or a partner. Somewhere there was love in there, and I feel like that love. I feel like a part of that love will always be there, even if it's just like 0.001% or whatever. I feel like
I think you. I think it's on the other end of the spectrum, 99.999%. Because
yeah,
I tell you, one of the things I do tell people often, and when they lose perspective on this, is that when you die, the only thing you take with you is the love in your heart and your reputation. You don't take
well,
anything else with you. Nothing else. What do you take? Can't take your money. Can't take your friends. Can't take your family. Can't take just your love and your heart and your reputation. And I think that that's very important, and we pay attention to that in the world. Um, you know, I, you talked about the importance of self-expression. What does self-expression mean to you?
oh wow, self-expression is uh, I think that's one of the reasons that we're all living this life. We've all been through so much, so many different types of scenarios, grown up in different ways. Even if it looks like it's the same, we've had different conversations and different experiences. And I feel like we're all so wise. I mean, we don't know everything and we never will. But from what we've been through, we have something to share. And it's so important to just get your expression out there, whether it's through speaking, writing, art, dance, whatever it is. I just feel like it's so important to share. And I feel like the world shows us that it's important as well. When people can express themselves online on TikTok, YouTube, like they have so many people watching because people love that authentic expression. For some reason, uh,
Resonates.
it just resonates and it keeps us all connected. And I just feel like we're so inspired when we see others express themselves. So let's just keep it inspiring each other.
So what do you think about our society in the United States, for instance, in the political climate and with the assassination attempts and all of that? How's it affecting you in your life?
Um, this may be a selfish reply, but it doesn't really affect me too much. I do have empathy for the people who've been through that type of situation, even people in the audience. I feel like that's a traumatic experience. And I
Yes,
feel
it
like
is.
it also brings people together as well, whether you're with your family or just sitting next to a stranger. I feel like it brings us together, which is beautiful.
It galvanizes the community, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it doesn't impact me, but I do see it, and I do hold space for those who've been through something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, right now, the political climate in the United States is getting out of hand. But I think that one thing I love about being U.S. is that we say we're the home of the free and the brave, and sometimes we're a little less brave. And once we know that we're a little less brave, almost cowardly in some ways, we then tend to find that courage. I think, I think Mandela had it right when he said that courage isn't the uh, absence of fear; it's the control of fear. And I think that that's where we are now as a country. I don't want to get into too much politics, even though this is my norm therapy platform. And I do get a lot of PTSD people, patients, and people with those kinds of issues. Um, and war is an inevitable part, politics is an inevitable part, finance is an inevitable part of life. They just are. And how we deal with them and cope with them are very important. Sometimes when like every entrepreneur, I'm going to ask you this question, and I wanted to preface all that by saying that is as an entrepreneur, sometimes when you're sitting there and you know that what you have right now is not enough to do what you need to do tomorrow. How do you get through those moments? How do you get through those periods?
Um, Trust, I guess, if whoever has a higher power, I think most of us do, but trusting that everything's going to work out, especially in that moment where you don't have it, what you need. There's nothing you can do about it in the moment, so you're going to have to let it go and trust and watch it play out tomorrow.
Who do you attribute that to? Is there someone in your life very important that you followed in a way that were an influence on you early on to get you on this entrepreneurial path?
I wish I could say that, but no, I've never had a mentor or anybody pushing me forward except for my children. So yeah.
Well, and you hold your children in excellent regard because they're the pinnacle of where you want to be with your children in life. You really want them to be well, you want them to live well, you want them to be safe. So you use that as your driving force. Is that enough?
Uh, it has been.
Well,
uh,
I needed to hear that because people don't know that oftentimes what they're actually doing is enough. They just are so busy self-evaluating, they're missing the good parts of what they do.
yeah.
And they often think they're not doing enough. But I think your child, even if you just had one child and nothing else in the entire world, I think that's a whole lot of stuff to catapult you forward. It's a whole lot of value there. I think um, I think the totality of what we look for in life isn't always the sum that we're going to find. You know, we think we're going to do 100%, we do 87%, and what we don't realize oftentimes is 87% is enough.
Yeah.
87% is enough. And I like that about you. I think that I don't think I've ever had a conversation with you where you were looking like something was so finite that you couldn't do anything about it. It's always been, I'm going to keep churning it and I'm going to keep making it happen and I'm going to keep sacrificing. And I think that that's very exemplary of you. And I think people can learn from that. What drives you? What drives you in the morning when you wake up and you say, you know, I got to get out here another day? And you said you just opened up another facility where you are right now. And you did that based on what? On just sheer will?
Well, um, so before this opened, I had a different brick and mortar with a holistic center in it, and it was just called Level Up Ascension Studio, and that was maybe 3 years, 4 years ago.
Mm.
Because of that situation I told you, where I had a fire lit under me, where I had to switch something up, I did have to close that business. So I would call that a failure, but also it's not, because just
Building
this.
block.
What's that?
Building block, I'm sure.
Building block, yeah. Yeah. So just this year, one of my really good friends, she said, I'm doing this pitch for the Shark Tank competition. Do you want to join? And when we did it and we succeeded, we ended up naming this co-work center Level Up Co-work and Creation Center. So she basically, we all decided that we would take the name from my old center
It's
and
a powerful name.
bring it into this. Yeah, and bring it into this. So what drives me is that even when I let go of something, it always ends up coming back around for me, and I got a huge grin on my face. I'm like, okay, I thought this was over, but all right, here we go. So what drives
See,
me is purpose and passion, and yeah, just my
okay, I got a few more questions for you on this. Um, where does your power come from? When you look and you're afraid, because we all are from time to time to do the next thing. Most people have a problem with what comes next. You know, you don't seem to have that problem. You just take the next thing as you just expressed with Level Up, how
Mhm.
it came back full circle to you. What gives you your power? Are you pulling it from yourself? Are you in a situation where God has given it to you, or the universe, or you're absorbing it from other people, or all of the above? What gives you that basic power?
Well, this is going to sound really weird, Michael, but what gives me power is surrender. And that's because when I'm feeling powerless, it's because there's nothing I can do. So I'm not taking any action. And when I can actually surrender, I get back in the moment, and the next day comes, and all of a sudden I'm
You
fine.
mean you mean you let go? You let go?
I let go, letting go. Just letting go gives me power.
I think that's very important. Well, I think we're always programmed to have an immediate answer or someone or something to blame it to immediately
Yeah,
instead of just letting it go and then let it come back when it's ready. And I
exactly.
think forcing anything will always produce an atmosphere of loss. So if you have to force anything, your chances are, unless it's something to save someone's life, you force that. But other than that, I think and even oftentimes then you have to let them go down that path. I told someone today that what you have to do in life is stop putting yourself in terrible circumstances
Yeah.
because something terrible is going to happen. When my niece died last night, she was actually doing something she shouldn't have been doing. She was walking down a road, going to the store, just trying to get some air. When had she just sat and composed herself and let it go, she'd
Mm,
probably be living right this moment. And I'm saying that just for the viewers to understand, for the sake of our conversation. Sometimes when you force something like, oh, I just got to get out. Oh, let me get out of here, get some sun. Oh, let me go do this. Let me go do that. I think you take yourself off your path. and you put yourself in circumstances you otherwise wouldn't have been in, and you leave yourself at peril. I mean, it's good to go with the flow. It absolutely is. But it can't be forced. You
Right.
can't force yourself to get up and do something unless it's productive. And I
Yeah.
think that that's the only kind of force we should ever use in life is when it's productive, not only for ourselves, but for other people. So anyway, I'm going off another. I can't get my brother's daughter off my mind, my niece. I just cannot get it because I was just looking at her picture the other day, saying, I'm over here in the Middle East right now, so I was saying to myself, wow, I need to call her, but the
Mm,
time it was here, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning her time. I said, yeah, I'll call her later, and now she's no longer. So
mm,
we miss opportunities in ourselves, I think, when we get angry, when we get frustrated, or we begin to stress ourselves over things that we can actually do something about. But we choose to stress instead of, I mean, a few days ago, I was so stressed out about 50 things. I just kind of laid down and went to sleep almost for 2 days. I would get up a couple hours here and go back later down. And it wasn't the kind of stress that I could do anything about. I couldn't do a thing about it. So I just let it go. And I'm sitting here on the phone with you today, even after my niece. And right when I get off this call, of course, I'll be talking to them. But the idea is that, and I think sometimes the universe sends us these clear messages that we need to focus on what to do next, what comes next. Like
yeah.
for you, I think you said time was your most important asset and the most important thing for you in your life. And I think that's probably one of the wisest thing on any of these podcasts I've done that people have said is that time. Because you can get everything in the world back except for your time and your life. You can't get those two things back. So when you do make time very important to you, there's a method I want to share with you if I can, real quick, and then we'll take some questions.
Yeah.
Um, and that is this: there's a thing called a backwards planning method. You ever heard of it?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I think we have had this discussion a long time ago. But for the audience sake, I'll say the backwards planning method is planning from where you want to be back to where you are. And I think the most effective use of time, because you won't miss a thing, if you plan yourself to your objective back to your impetus or in your particular case, you said from your intention, from your execution to your intention, you won't miss a thing. You never will because you can see how that success looks and you can work back to where you are and it becomes more doable. I
Mm,
wish I had the time. It's about an hour lecture. I could go into that another time, but I think it's important that people understand it. Just look at where you want to go and work yourself back from there to where you are, and you'll find out how to get it done every time. Okay, now let's see if there are any questions here. Let me go in here and see what we got. Okay, here we go. What is your morning routine with all you have ongoing during the day, and how do you balance it with two children?
Um, well, my morning routine is, um, for the most part, I let myself wake up when my body says. I think that's really important not to set my alarm for 5 a.m., even though time is very important. But for the most part, I wake up around 6:30. I take my time getting up, and first thing I do every morning is go to the gym. And it's so important to do something for yourself. That is my self-care, and it's also my meditation. During like cardio or whatever I'm doing when I first start off, I do all my visualizing. I visualize kind of like how you said with the backwards planning. I do that in a visualization. So I'll visualize my goal and where I want to be, and I'll see myself there. I'll see everybody around me clapping and excited and happy. And I'll start to kind of feel it physiologically as I'm working out. And so I'm just daydreaming. I guess I'm there in the moment. I'm there where I want to be, and it's so lovely and so beautiful. And that actually sets my tone for my mindset for the rest of my day. So I feel like it's so important to not wake up and get on your phone or check your emails, because that you're setting your mindset tone for your entire day that way. So it's so
Busy,
good.
busy, busy, busy. Check this, check that. Don't do this, don't do that. Yeah. It's
Life
pretty
doesn't have to
awful.
be that way. It really doesn't. We are all so busy. But when we can pull back from that, sometimes everything still ends up working out when we give ourselves more time, especially for self-care. So that's the main and most important thing that I do in the morning.
It's summertime now, and you got your kids. How are you spending time with them with all the stuff that you're doing?
We do a lot of swimming. We have a really big lake here in southern Colorado in Pueblo. So I take them to the lake and we do different activities. We jump into the water and have fun and feel free. I like to go hiking, but not so much my girls. So sometimes I'll take them on some short walks. Uh, yeah,
Mom.
oh, I'm so tired. My legs hurt. And I just encourage them on the up the hill. I'm like, we're almost there. You got strong legs. Keep going. You can do it.
Okay, heck with this, but
Yeah.
and you know, in 10 years, they'll be like, Mom, let's go for a hike. Let's go. Let's go. You know,
Yeah. Yep.
switch the tables on. I got another question for you. Um, you know, what is your most important goal in your construction business? What do you want to ultimately be able to do? You're doing drywall now. This is what they're asking me. So tell me, you're doing drywall now. What what will you be doing 10 years from now, 5 years from now?
Uh, well, the business will either become a corporation and be all over the place. Maybe I'll keep running it. Maybe I'll sell it. But I do want to bring up the business from a very grounded and loving foundation, all about integrity and quality and freedom for employees. I know there's a way. Everybody's
There
like, oh,
is, absolutely.
yeah, there's a way to treat everybody with respect. Like, everybody has a life, and I really appreciate everybody's stories and everything that they do when they come in and they do help me. But yeah, I plan to grow it, and place it in probably many different states, cities, and I don't know if I'll keep it or not, because I'm always finding new things that I love to do. But
Well, are you looking to get beyond drywall and get into like framing and building and the whole house routine? Are you trying to do that?
I haven't really thought about expanding it in different aspects like that. But I will tell you that something I find really interesting is cave homes, homes that are built out the side of a cave. That's actually my
I
dream.
love those. I
Yeah.
love those.
So it's something I like. So maybe I'll get into that somehow.
In California, back in the day, I went to one of those. It was a restaurant built into a cave.
Oh, so
I
cool.
was blown away. Truly amazing. And then also in Switzerland, there's a place called Yverdon. It's in Geneva or Genève, but it's in Geneva. It's a hotel there. Well, quite a few of the hotels are built right into the side of the mountains. And so they have like a spa, a mountain spa. They have like a restaurant built into the actual rock of the cave. It's truly
Wow.
amazing what they've been able to do. Yeah, and all hot springs too. So in the middle of the winter, the snow is like 4 feet, 6 feet deep, and you're diving into a warm pool swimming around snow. It's
Brilliant. I
truly
love that.
powerful. Truly, you'd love that. Just
Yeah.
remember Yverdon, Yverdon. It's
Okay.
wintertime, you're having a ball.
In Switzerland.
Okay, yes, in Switzerland. Yeah, yeah. I lived in Zurich for 4 years. I know
Okay.
Zurich very well,
Wow.
but I know the whole of Switzerland because you have four cantons there. You have the Swiss, you have Swiss German, you have the Swiss French, you have the Swiss Romanish, and the Swiss Italian part, which touch and border each of those countries. So it's pretty interesting how they've developed Switzerland. And then you have a few other cantons, but most of the cantons are that way. But anyway, so Stephanie, what makes you happy?
Uh, what makes me happy is when my girls get along, when they're having a good time together.
Because you
Anybody?
see what?
Uh, well, I see their true love for each other. Little girls can be pretty stubborn. I have two sisters, and uh, for some reason, girls tend to fight sometimes. So, yeah, I see their true care and love for each other. That sometimes they're a little prideful, but when they really get along, I'm like, oh, I see you
You
guys.
did something right. You did something right.
Yeah.
So when they get along, you did something. You know, I
Uh,
hate it when a parent says, I did my best. I hate that because there's never enough to have been your best. Not ever. You know, I think that it's good that it's an ongoing thing and you're constantly observing that. You're observing the good in them, which is an extension of you, to be quite frank. That good that you see in them is an extension of you. And I think that's very commendable and remarkable even. Um, do you like yourself these days?
yeah, I like myself. I'm a pretty interesting individual, I think. Quite nerdy sometimes, but
Nerd is good. Nerdy is good. Sometimes, you know, people think nerdy means that you're not attractive, but you, of course, we're not just talking about physical, although you are very beautiful and physically and mentally, you are. But nerdy sometimes is just as attractive because sometimes the messages that you give the world, you know, may not be healthy. So sometimes when you can come back to the nerdiness in you, you come
mm,
back to that plain Jane thing, and that, you know, because most people who go into a room looking for attention, they actually get the wrong kind.
yeah.
But when they go into a room just being them nerdy selves and could be the most beautiful or most intelligent or most handsome or whatever person walking in, if they go in with that kind of humility, I think that they get a lot more out of that room and then just being paid attention to. So
Yeah.
anyway, I could talk to you all day. Sorry about the technical difficulties. I owe you a good conversation again in the future. Sorry about that. But we are almost coming up on the end of our time. Is there anything you want to tell our audience?
Uh, yeah. I want to bring up something real quick that's very passionate to me, and
Sure.
this is kind of a touchy subject, so I'll keep it as general as I can. But I do, because of what I learned in norm therapy and all the different types of abuse, I do see, with social media and all that, I see a lot of different types of what seems like sexual abuse to me, and self abuse as well for young women and girls. And I just want to let all girls and young women know that your bodies are so sacred and they are perfect just the way that they are. And um, in a way, to not know that is a form of unintentional self abuse, which can be very challenging. I've been through it myself.
Quite.
Yeah.
Well, self-abuse is the number one abuse on the planet. Most people think it's, you know, child abuse or spousal or intimate partner. No, self-abuse. We abuse ourselves worse than anybody could ever abuse us. And
And
this
so
is the biggest problem with abuse. Say again?
and, and so discreetly sometimes as well.
Yes,
Even know it.
yes, so discreetly. That's a great way of putting it. So discreetly. And we punish ourselves.
Yeah.
We punish ourselves for no apparent reason. Um, and it isn't because there's no apparent reason. It's because we've been socialized to self-critique to the point of our own destruction, our own demise. I think this is the problem. When you that self-talk, it's okay sometimes to have negative self-talk, like I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have da 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 da. But then you have to bounce out of that. You have to say, okay, how do I turn that around? Because you have to hear it to understand it. We're avoiding hearing it. I think
Yeah.
we avoid hearing the problem. So we're trying to apply solutions to problems that we've not even heard the problem yet, too. And I think and when I say hear the problem, I'm not just talking about the words. I'm talking about telling yourself that you have actually got a problem and you need to deal with it. I think this is where we miss the mark.
Yeah.
And good Lord, that's a whole new subject. Oh, you wait till the last to bring that up. I'm sorry.
I
I
know.
thought I covered some of that, but you killed it right there. I think that's very important, though. I think it's very important.
One more thing I want to say, Michael.
Sure.
I want to say, if anybody's ever in a situation, in a relationship or a friendship, where something just doesn't feel right by the way you're being treated, and you're just so confused about it. Well, maybe it's me. If something just doesn't feel right, I really encourage you to look up norm therapy and reach out to Arrow, because so many
Thank you.
types of abuse are so discreet. Like psychological abuse, like you feel like you're going crazy, but you're actually being abused. So if something doesn't feel right, definitely look into help.
And
That's
we
it.
oftentimes bring our last relationship or our last 7 or 8 relationships into our relationship. And I think that that is something that hurts us more than anything else. I think when we carry baggage with us, we carry it in such a way that is detrimental to our future. So we have to learn how to bring that baggage in, but also discern it and put it where it belongs in a cataloged place. I think that's very, I love your sincerity about that. And I think you have to put it somewhere.
Yeah.
But we have to construct those, of course, categories in our brain and our hearts. So when we do put it there, it won't overwhelm us. That's a
Right.
whole nother norm therapy subject, but thank you for recommending norm therapy.
Yes.
Well, I need to share with you a couple things, and I'll say one last thing too, and I'll let you go. I have to, of course, do our deals here. I'm looking forward to here. Okay, if you've enjoyed, of course, and got something out of today's live podcast, please share this live session with a friend who could benefit from this message, of course. Please go to goarrow.org, goaro.org, and normtherapy.com to explore opportunities and seek help for yourselves or anyone needing our services. If you're interested in applying to participate in our live sessions as a guest, like Stephanie here, please contact us at contact@normtherapy.com. If you're a victim or survivor of abuse, email us at the same address, contact@normtherapy.com. normtherapy.com. Thank you for joining, and we can't wait to see you again on Tuesday. And also, we're at the doorstep of funding for Norm Therapy. It's about to become really huge. And advertising and marketing and consultants like Deloitte and banks and law firms, all of that comes into play really soon. And when it does, I'll keep you in mind because one of the most entrepreneurialized endeavors in the world is helping people. And I think we have a pretty good plan for norm therapists. You may want to kind of consider getting back into the fold of things. And I know you're still busy with the organization, but you've got 80,000 other things that's going, and I'm proud of you. I'm very happy for you as well. So, Stephanie, it's good to see you. It's always good to talk to you. We went a little over because we were a little late, but I look forward to seeing you again and stay in contact. Okay? Anything you want to tell our viewers before we go?
Uh, just decide to follow your dreams. You can do it. That's it.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Stephanie Thompkins. Say hello to your children. I don't want to mention their names online unless you do, but say hello to your children. I hope they're well. And I think that you're on the right path. I'm loving it for you. Talk to you
Thank you,
soon.
Michael.
You're welcome. Bye bye.
Bye.